I have a lot to air out in my heart right now. I posted recently on Instagram that feels like there's a huge grief tunnel opening up where a lot of people are passing on and a lot of people are reaching endings that they didn't think would come so soon and are faced with the responsibility of needing to face that all while life is still moving. Like it doesn't feel like people can slow down for their pains, even if they're feeling so much of it right now. And that's causing like a spiritual exhaustion, detachment, disassociation, deep depression. I think some of which may not be felt, may not have been felt before, where you are sad in a very new way. I think I've explained this in previous readings and offerings that from what I've noticed, these are like waves that come almost like a storm, I guess, that sort of cleanses and washes away everything that was trailing and mugging and maybe attaching like the way algae attaches to the surface sometimes, the way it can become a thin thread as you pull it away, like you have to keep pulling and sometimes you need an extra scrub and an extra wash and water and all of that stuff. At least that's what I'm picturing in my mind, a sliminess, a deep implanting of something, and that something needing to be scrubbed and washed and over again, scrub, wash over again and again, you know? And we've been doing that a lot, I think. So it feels like we're all collectively understanding more about grief. We're all having more and more empathy for each other. So I do think that that's something that, even as I'm saying it now, to remind myself to embody, prioritize compassion. It feels like there's a push and pull between wanting to be sovereign, caring only about the self, or at least putting the self, prioritizing the self like a lot more than you'd be used to. It feels complicated, and it feels like that's something we have to get really good at, learning how to love ourselves and loving the other in balance at the same time. It feels like now is the season to love the other and hold deep empathy and understanding for what other people may be going through. And even for your own self as an individual person, an ego with your own processes. If you're experiencing grief, have compassion for yourself as someone who is going through that shit. And go through that shit. It can be tempting. And I think it's also just the human inclination to try to avoid pain and push past it and keep going because of that idea of no one's coming to save you, so you have to keep up with being able to save yourself, blah, blah, blah. But now is not the time to be so harsh that you don't give yourself time, excuse me, sir, to process this pain that we're all being invited to feel through is for a reason. A very significant one. And even the way it's so painful is important. So anyway, in lieu of that, is that how you use that phrase? I will be using, this is pretty interesting. He's never done this before. Dude, come on. I'll be using the Intuitive Tarot. I thought I would try to, maybe if I need more clarification on the kind of situations that I should be bringing to light in this reading right now, I will try shuffle from the Waiter Waits. But for now, I will dive right into the subconscious, of course. Like I'd said, 5 of Cups. Really, I feel called to remind you to really fight the urge to avoid this. Like really resist that. Really give yourself time to cry. I'm feeling into somebody who's really stubborn towards feeling this way. And you don't understand. This is important. It sucks like a bitch, but it's so important. It's so important that you cry. and that you really feel sad. I feel so sad. I feel so much sadness in my heart right now, and nothing sad has been happening around me or even to me. But this is a lot. This is so much grief and weight, and I wish I could give you a hug. You deserve a really, really long hug. Maybe I should read the interpretation of the Five of Cups. But let's see what else comes up. Hold on. Anything. Okay. I'm going to pause that because I think that it's important that I explore this more. This has turned into a grief reading. And I figured that I figured that it would. I felt that the reason for my return would be to address that. And then on that note, I will link a little yap I have had about grief that I've posted that I think might be helpful in the process of surrendering to it and understanding that this is happening because it has its season. And it's really necessary that you heed it, like listen to this pain as if it's a teacher, you know? What do you want me to do, baby? The charger's in the bedroom, but it's fine. So for the Five of Cups, we have pain, sorrow, loss. The loss is not terminal. However, something remains as consolation and recovery will take place. The opportunity brought by a loss to alter your life for the better. This is the kind of pain that I'm feeling, a kind of pain that is so weighted and deep that the kind of grief that's so low that you really don't understand. Like even as I read the interpretation for you, you don't see how this could be a lesson. It's so painful. I understand. And with this kind of pain, that's really all I can say. We have the Four of Rods. If you are into meditation, long walks outside, please get into that. Take daily long walks as slow as possible. Let those walks do what they can to you. Don't try to plan ahead of time. Just get your legs moving daily on this walk before 10 a.m. Allow what comes up in your mind to come up. If you must cry, then cry. Walk and cry, you know? This feels seasonal as well, considering that on my side we are transitioning to winter. And yeah, this is my winter. These two cards together is my winter. When the pain gets so deep that it leads you directly to yourself. Speaking in metaphors about a really, really deep pain. But, you know, if you give time to time, the sensation always comes about. Like, for me, when I process pain this deep, I also like to think of the strandedness of it and how in this state I really have no choice but to rely on God, miracle, community, love, all that simple stuff, you know, the simple things. Connection with my family, my child, the laughter of children, all of that little stuff. It's like you live life here and then grief and loss happens and it makes everything go and you focus on whatever it is. You focus on the grief, but you also have this power to turn that focus onto other things, other positive things possibly, or even the sensation of this loss and maybe a person you're grieving, if you're grieving a person, thinking of the light and the love that came from that, because all this pain, that saying of how grief is love reserved. None of that grief, none of this pain would be so deep if you didn't have such a deep love and connection for it. And that love and connection is supposed to be a signal or a mirror to yourself, or to the love and connection you are capable of as a person. But with due time. Feels like the pain can be deep enough for none of this to land. Like I'm just talking shit right now, which I understand. And again, if you're watching, it's not helpful, stop watching. Really only take stuff in that resonates, especially if you're in such an energetically sensitive state. Loss and grief disrupts your energy field, and it makes it makes it more sensitive, in my opinion. You're more sensitive, you're more open, susceptible to manipulation, all that stuff. So make sure that you focus on staying centered, connected to yourself, your sense of truth, sense of faith, religion if you must. Incarnation helps me, the belief of it. Working with water also helps me when I'm going through grief. So I will fill a glass of water and place it in a room I'm in and pray over it to help me process it, process the pain. You can do whatever you want, you know. Meditation is also very important. Very, 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 very important. This pain and sadness can lead you into thinking and believing, perceiving things that are not necessarily true, but are just a reflection of the pain you're feeling. It can be difficult to discern. And then, yeah, it's really important that you stay centered and connected to your intuition yourself in whatever way. If you're a woman, a womb owner, connect to your womb, connect to your heart. I think connecting to your sexual organs, your root chakra in general, is helpful with grounding. So man or woman, just connect to that part of yourself. They, them, whoever. We have the Nine of Cups in reverse. I feel called to dive into this a little bit more. That is curious. Lack of alignment between wishes and actuality. Discordant results where harmony should reign, sentimentality and gushing overreaction. You may be trying too hard. Perhaps you should ease up and let some genuine feelings out. I felt something when the lack of between. Okay, so this could also show up in just a random bout of depression. And this is, I'm very tender-hearted towards this, especially because sometimes this kind of grief I mentioned grief of a person, loss, whatever, but sometimes these things can just happen almost like the hermit, as a call from within, where you just randomly, like, things are going fine, life is just fine, but you're just not okay. You're not feeling okay. You're feeling sad every day. You're crying, emotional, all of that stuff. Again, with the mention of lack of alignment here, the Four of Rods, let me read the interpretation of that. This feels like the central, helpful way forward. A lot of this feeling and grief can come across as unexplainable because of how deep it feels. And I've been there when you're explaining pain to someone, and I guess maybe because they're logical or maybe they're trying to be helpful, I don't know. It always ends up being a conversation about, but why? But how come? But where did this start? And how long has it been? And da-da-da-da. And you end up kind of not really feeling seen. So that it's hard to talk about, hard to reach out to people about, and it's even hard to do anything about because it's hard to put words to it. That's what I'm saying. Little things, simple things like walking, trying to be present with your community. Empathy in the sense of maybe taking yourself and literally putting yourself in another person's shoes. So when you're interacting with someone, how quick are you able to perceive yourself through their eyes via what you're receiving? But that takes a lot, and I don't know, that feels like too much work. I guess I mentioned that just for experiential purposes, to take your awareness to another level, put it in another place outside of the pit that this grief can pull you to. But like I said, sometimes it's necessary. Anyway, I feel like I'm rambling now. Coming home, the end of a long journey, having crossed many bridges and seen many places. The successful conclusion to a long search. Internal harmony after discovering an inner refuge. Endurance, conviction, finding your path at last. Yeah, can't go around it, can't go over it, gotta go through it. So just go through it and cry as often as you can and take as much time to yourself. Stay at home. If someone invites you out, always hold it with regards to your energy field, your energy level, your emotional state. Really check in with that on a moment-to-moment basis. And if you feel sad, be sad and cry. Go all the way with it. And if you can, take it a step further and fix your inner voice. Like, be aware of the dichotomy within you of the person experiencing it, the sadness, and the person who understands and sees the sadness. I don't know how to further describe that, but it's like when you think about, when you think of the phrase, I'm feeling sad, who is feeling sad? Me. Me who? Me. And if you're the person feeling sad, then who's the person that's looking at the person feeling sad? You'd only be able to know you're feeling sad by observing that you're feeling sad. Now I'm taking it to another place, but there can be an inner voice inside of you that can respond to the I'm feeling sad prompt, where if you sit in the grief and you say, I'm feeling sad, there can be another voice that slides in between the moment you have of feeling sad that says anything you want. These days, my voice, when I'm feeling intellectual, my voice will say, why are you feeling sad? Let's break it down. But these days, I'm trying to be, hold on, baby. These days, I'm trying to be more compassionate and rather say, okay, what would you like to do to feel better? Like a parent and child, you know? How can I, what will bring you comfort right now? Let's not seek joy. What can bring you comfort? What can make you feel warm? Are you cold? Are you hungry? Are you hydrated? Do you feel tired? Do you need a nap? You know, slip into this feeling with that voice and kind of parent yourself into alignment and into joyful experiences. Because at the end of the day, it really is about, fortunately, I don't know how you take it when you're in this state, but it is about your perception. We have the King of Swords beneath the deck. It's about how you perceive the situation. It seems as though beneath that we have the Ten of Swords. You may be perceiving a situation with a little bit too much on your shoulders, like you're taking too much on of it. So minus the grief, because I was tapping into something very heavy and very experiential, but this feels very internal and very, we have the Nine of Rods, very self. This is a discovery of the self that you're going through, that we're all going through all the time, technically, but that you or someone you know may be going through. But again, if none of this resonates, then please stop watching. Yeah. The return to self and to a feeling of comfort and daily happiness and bliss, I think, at this point is inevitable for all of humanity. I think that because of where we are at in the state of human consciousness, we have AI, we have all of this crazy technology available to us right now. This, if you want it, if you'd like, is available and inevitable. So you can hold on to that as you're in this state. You can hold on to the fact that everything's temporary. And one day, truly, things will just turn around. And or it would be done by the prompt of your own intentional work to connect with yourself and with the presence, as I said, of these two cards. Be willing to be vulnerable. Be less about being the person who saves people and try to be saved. Yeah, try to let people help you. Let people help themselves. Understand that everybody has a God. And so everybody's connected to their own sense of love, self-empowerment, etc. Everybody's capable of saving themselves. So you don't have to be that person for everybody all the time. And in general, cry the fuck out. Yo, cry. If you need to sit something out and ask for help and express, yo, I'm having an emotional day or I'm having an emotional time, I need to step aside and have a little quick cry, then do it. Do that. You'll be surprised by how grateful you will be to yourself afterwards, after allowing yourself space to be emotional and have a little breakdown. This is a mental breakdown. And with that sentence, with the interpretation that came here that said lack of alignment, please understand that even when you are misaligned, you are in alignment. The misalignment is intentional. There's nothing about any moment that happens right now, especially right now, that isn't like by some divine order, the makings of which we do not, cannot, almost must not understand. So it ruins the fun. Anyway, I feel like that's all I have to offer right now. And I don't think that really anything, like I really, with this emotion, feel like the only thing helpful is to cry. If you've taken nothing from this reading, please take the necessity to have a good sob and be dramatic about it if you must, Let the tears run. Don't wipe your face until you're done. Seriously. Feel the wetness of the tears on your face. Look at yourself in the mirror. I like to do that. Becomes a little bit funny because then I realize that I might be overreacting. But then it also does offer like tenderness to myself. Like, oh no, I'm looking myself in the eyes all sad and stuff. And it's like, oh baby, no. I don't like seeing you that way, Have real compassion for yourself. And trust that there's lights on the other side of this. It's all on purpose. Thank you for watching. I really hope everybody is well with all my absences. I don't see myself being more consistent with this right now, honestly. I feel like with what is happening in life and with the changes that I'm going through personally, I no longer see the necessity to be as consistently online, even as an individual, as any person. I really feel like in order to have a fully balanced connection with yourself and with the way that life is moving right now, with the way it's changing, it's best to stay as present as possible and as away from the onlineness lifestyle. So I would also recommend that for you. If you're somebody who is into tarot and all of this stuff, take more time to yourself. Stop listening to us. Genuinely. Stop taking us in and start taking more of you in, But until next time, I hope that you stay well.